Anthony Adebayo. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sports.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. Oh, man. I thought I was about to do this show by myself for a second.
Oh, man. Come on, man.
No. Because I didn't, because I didn't bring you in on time. It was a me thing, not a you thing.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. So what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Interesting week. A crazy week. Before we go there, just let everybody know this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B.
All right, so I guess we got a lot. We got our boy Trey Rainey here with us today. He's gonna join us a little later. We're gonna talk the NBA bubble. We're gonna talk football. Preseason. Well, the lack of preseason. Some dummies with the win of the week and everything else in between. So I guess we'll start with a rest in peace to a few people. Like back to back. But I guess Lou Dawson, Chadwick Boseman, Cliff Robinson, John Thompson. Yeah, man, it was to get those four like back to back. It was just kind of like, man, what in the world is happening right now? But I guess we kind of know, the way this year's been going, how crazy it is.
Yeah, it was just like every day. It was like every day it was somebody different. Rest in peace to everybody that you just said too. Definitely all of them have had like a different impact in my life. Just Luda Olsen, just the way he coached and be at Arizona for that long and just the success of that program. John Thompson, man, you can't say enough about his impact on basketball and what he did for that Georgetown program and all the mentoring that he did. Chadwick Boseman, I've never seen a guy play Thurgood Marshall, Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Black Panther, and I mean he just did it with so much elegance and class. And then Cliff Robinson, I remember him more so. I used to run with Phoenix NBA Live, so I used to use him, and he was probably one of the, I don't want to say the first true stretch fours, but he could shoot. He was a very versatile player, and one of my favorite stories, Shaq was telling it to where he would guard Shaq, and Shaq would be like, "Yo, I'm coming out here, I'm coming to the 3-point line when it's time to guard me." So, that was just funny just listening to that. But yeah, definitely rest in peace to all those guys.
Definitely. And like to get more to the Chadwick Boseman, I think that one was probably. I mean, they all were shocking. I think they all caught everyone off guard. That one caught people off guard a little bit more when we found out that he was suffering from colon cancer for 4 years and gave us such iconic movies in that time, and
right.
For him to pass on Jackie Robinson Day, I thought that was
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Not really.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit. Yeah, you sounded a little bit lower, but yeah, like you said, for him to pass during Jackie Robinson Day. But let's get into some of these basketball playoffs, man. It's just been a phenomenal run. I know last week when we left off, we didn't know how the protest was going to impact everything. With the Milwaukee and Orlando game, they had decided to protest that, so we didn't know if it was going to impact the rest of the NBA season in the bubble. But I mean, the games, the Boston series, Raptor series, Boston just looks phenomenal. Game 7 last night. I know you were watching that. We'll get into that in a second. And then the Heat and Milwaukee. I know you was watching that too. So, I mean, which game do you really want to start with?
I get sick of electronics. What about now?
I can hear you a little bit.
So,
give me 1 second. We'll get this going. All right, so my end, I think the one I was watching, looking for the most was probably the Utah Denver series, and I had a feeling once Utah lost that second game. Once they lost that second game and it was tied 3-3, I said they're not gonna win game 7. And I actually thought it wasn't going to be close. I thought that, the usual, Donovan Mitchell was going to do what he does, but then Jamal Murray and Jokic was going to be too much, and it came down to the last shot.
Yeah, the unsung hero was Gary Neal.
Huh?
Gary Neal was the unsung hero of that game.
Yeah, I agree, and to see the way these guys to see the way these guys were freaking competing out there, it was like, man, you don't really want to see anybody lose, but somebody's gonna lose, and I just had a feeling that Denver was going to do it. Now I'm rooting for them in the next round.
So what I liked about that series is since we've gotten basketball in the bubble, minus Steph Curry, minus Kevin Durant, and minus all the normal characters that you normally see, the Kyrie Irvings, is given other players like the Donovan Mitchells, the Damian Lillards, Luka Doncic. All those guys have had the stage to where they've shown that, okay, we've got some up and coming stars in our league. The Denver that series was supposed to be a runaway series for them.
Yeah.
Utah shouldn't have took them 7, but I will tell them that Gary Neal, the defense it's not going to show up on a stat sheet.
Right.
Instantly, when he came back into that lineup, you could see the difference. He was defending, and it helped out tremendously. And I think that was the swing in the last 3 games was having him. The adjustment to put Grant in there and go from Michael Porter Jr. was too, because that helped boost that defense. Even though Michael Porter was scorching hot at the beginning of the series, they started to pick with him and started to exploit his defensive liability. So just shout out to them for getting that done. There's a very important series going on tonight after we get off the air.
Absolutely.
And we started a little bit rough, but before we get into that, happy anniversary to myself and my beautiful wife.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, my anniversary. Don't know how much of this game I'm going to actually be able to watch because I'm already getting the highway murderer doing the show during my anniversary.
I'll say this, Scott. I'll say this. Just use me at, I had to do the show on my anniversary too. So just a couple of months ago. So you're all right, man.
All right.
I'll go on the ledge with you, man.
So you hear me in a couple of hours knocking on your door because you know what happened. But look, I got my hat. I'm gonna root for these guys today.
Okay.
The reason why I'm rooting for these guys is if OKC loses, nobody cares. If Houston loses, James Harden is going to feel it. Their coach, I hear that he's got a job lined up in Indiana. He's going to have to go to Indiana because they're going to fire him.
I don't even think he'll make it out the bubble. I think he will lose his job before the clock strikes 12.
Absolutely. And good luck to the next coach because they better hope to God they like small ball because he's shaped that roster. I like what he did, but it's one of those things to where it's either going to work or it's either not going to work. And if he gets, I think the roster right now is constructed to where it fits him. James Harden is the perfect guard for his system. He is not going to get a better guard to play in that system. So the marriage between those two is there. But if he loses to OKC in the first round, he's got to go. He's got to. They got to get him up out of there. What you think?
Oh, and I agree with everything you said, but I think Russell Westbrook is going to feel it as well. It's because you lost to the guy that they just traded you for, or traded for you, So, oh man, yeah. And here's the thing: I think that if Houston loses, that OKC might lose in 5, maybe 4. So I don't want to be disrespectful and say they'll get swept, but I really don't see. I mean, and they've beaten the Lakers, but they beat the Lakers in the bubble. But we all know that the Lakers only cared about one game in the bubble, But I think the better series is Houston, LA. I think the Lakers beat both of them, but in the case of Houston versus OKC, if Houston loses. It's gonna be a blow up. They're gonna blow that team up. Maybe they're gonna have to because of the ball, the small ball. The tallest guy is what 6'8", 6'9". So yeah, they're gonna have to blow that team up, and it'll be interesting.
But as quiet as it's kept, the OKC hasn't been able to take advantage of the small ball. The small ball is not the reason that they're losing. It's just OKC is playing. They're playing well. They're playing. Chris Paul had a phenomenal fourth quarter the other day, and they've made this series a dogfight. They're not backing down. They've got confidence, and they're not going anywhere. So I think the X factor today is going to be Russell Westbrook. He's got to play better. I just don't know if he's capable because of the injury. And I mean, it's really I hate dependent on Russell Westbrook, but he's got to get it done for the sake of Harden and that coach.
Yeah. So it's funny that you say that. I don't even think the game's going to be close. I think. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston wins by 30.
Oh yeah, but they cannot play around. They have to go out there and they have to let them know that it's over early.
And you know what they have to do is Gildas Alexander? Is that how you say his last name? I may have screwed that up. But they need to play bully ball with him like they did a couple games ago. Like he was looking so sad on TV. I was like, they need to leave this kid alone. It was like they were like taking turns picking on this kid, and I mean he did bounce back, but my God, I kind of felt bad for him. So I mean, I have Houston winning like you do, and I have Miami they're gonna win tonight. I have a feeling they're going to win tonight, and that's going to put a ton of pressure on Milwaukee. So
yeah, I know we got the guest coming in, and he loves basketball too. So there's a couple of things that we do have to get to when he comes through. I want to hop back into that Miami, but I know he's been waiting patiently, and he's ready to come on. But yeah, I do want to get his take on what's going on in Milwaukee.
all right, so let's get him on here. Let's get here we go. Trey, what's going on?
What's going on, fellas? What's going on, Scotty?
What's going on?
Man,
All right, so
right here, man.
yeah, so we got Trey Rainey on. He means a lot to us because he came on the show last year. He was the voice of the Wizards. If you ever went to a Wizards game the last few years, he was the voice of the Wizards. Then he actually hosted our 100th episode, our live 100th episode.
Yeah. That was fun. That was fun too. That lady was about to see the other side of me.
We were just talking about that. What was that? Aunt? Maybe it was on your birthday, right? Maybe
yeah.
Because we were talking about you were coming back, and we were talking about, man, what a phenomenal job. How you kind of like had the crowd going, how you really like made that 100th episode pop. And we was like, yo, when that lady stood up. That may have been my favorite part of that whole day.
Yeah,
you know, and it worked because, you know, it was right around the time where Steph Curry's wife was saying, you know, wanting some attention, you know, all that stuff. And man, oh man, Trey and this lady, they were going back and forth like no other, man. It was amazing. But how you been, man? What's new?
I've been good, man. Nothing much is new, man. I've just been trying to navigate through this COVID-19, man. Just like the rest of us, you know. Like I'm used to doing shows inside of a studio every day, just like y'all. So like this, adjusting to this new, you know, I guess the new age of media. This has been very different for me. I ain't gonna lie, it's been different to adjust, but you know. We found ways to make it through, and you know this is, you know, a lot of this stuff is actually kind of cool that we're figuring out and learning how to do. But you know, I'm such an in-person type dude, so like
absolutely.
So like, you know, this for people that has to be around people, it's been a little bit difficult for me. But you know, we all going through it, so I ain't special. I'll be all right.
So it's funny that you bring that up. Me and Aunt go back and forth about this. Do you miss the studio?
Absolutely. It's not the same.
It's a different vibe in the studio, right?
It's definitely different.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. I do miss the studio.
It's like shooting on the court with no net on it.
Yeah.
Like but it don't really feel like it. You know what I'm saying? It's like playing a different game when you're playing it with no net. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel.
Yeah. So go ahead, Scott.
One thing real quick, something I've challenged my co-host for is the music. I feel like we are naked without the music. The music it's our trademark, and not having the music just kind of it does feel weird without that.
Yeah, and we're working on it. We so before I'm not gonna put no date on it because I'm about to. Yeah, no. So soon, people.
That's how Leonard Fournette got cut.
Yeah. No, so you bring that up, but I think he wanted to get cut.
He did.
He's in Jacksonville. Yeah. Why would he want to be there?
It's a terrible franchise, man.
It might be the worst. Second worst.
They up there with the Jets. The Jets, the Browns, and the Jags. They're there.
So I don't think the Jets are that bad. But Trey, what
back up. So, hold on. You don't think the Jets like that?
I don't think they're that as bad as like the Browns and the Jaguars. No, I mean the Jets have been somewhat consistent. You know, they've had some bad seasons, but you look at last year, and we're talking football. We're supposed to be interviewing this guy, but you bring up last year, they went 7-9. I mean,
football. He about to
yeah. Oh yeah, I know, but look, the Jets. Yes, they're not the greatest franchise, and they can do some things better. Can they get a new head coach? Absolutely. They will eventually. Um, but they haven't been as bad as the Jags or the Browns in the last 10 years. They've been to the playoffs a couple times. They
I mean,
haven't
just a
made
few years ago, Jacksonville was in the playoffs, weren't they? With Blake Bortles, they was about to
yeah.
they gave Blake Bortles the bag and all that stuff. You
The
know?
Jacksonville was in the conference championship with the league just 2 years ago.
Yeah, must say, yeah,
You
just
know?
2 years ago, Jalen Ramsey was out there yelling and
Yeah.
screaming like corners that need money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So I consider that a fluke season. There's a lot of teams out there that they'll show that signs of success. They'll put it together, but the bad organizations will always figure out how to mess it up.
oh yeah,
And that's the Jags. That's the Jets. I mean, they were in the AFC Championship, like with Mark Sanchez and stuff. Don't be blinded by that.
yeah.
Not be blinded by that. But go ahead and ask your question to Trey, because I know you won't forget.
Now, I hope everybody see how Scott's trying to bully me, and I will not be bullied. I will not be bullied.
It's 2020, all right? We are not tolerating
Yes,
that.
we are not tolerating this bullying, But nah, man. So for some people that don't know, you did leave the Wizards, right? And when you what made you come to that decision? Where did that decision come from? And what have you been doing since that decision?
Well, when I left the Wizards, I had been working for the Wizards as an entertainer and the Mystics as an entertainer and a host for about 8 years. And my goal, because I started working there when I was in college still, like I was working there part-time and just trying to work my way up. And my end goal was to become the arena host. And I ended up doing it for the Mystics. And my end goal is to do it for the Wizards. That's why I started working there. I loved, I've been going to the game since I was a kid. That's my squad. No matter how terrible we were in the bubble, we needed some of that Phoenix Suns treatment. That I'm not sure if y'all hip to that treatment I'm talking about, but they needed some extra motivation in the bubble. They looked really bad. But I rock with my team, and once we'll talk about But yeah, once I kind of hit that top thing, I had different interests. I really didn't. I didn't see myself doing anything else. I could have came back for another year. There was new management, and they kind of wanted to do some different things that I didn't really, I guess, say agree with. That was good for my personal, growth. Because I didn't really even know I wanted to do media or even be in this. Because I had dreams in the back of my head, but it's you don't really get too many opportunities to do what I did, and that's why I kind of went balls to the wall for it. Because I never knew if I was ever going to get the chance to do anything like that ever again. And it introduced me to a new market. Started working at Radio One, working with WKYS, Team 980, Redskins Radio, and I've got a lot of good mentors and people up there like my guy Fred Smoot, B. Mitch, and Doc Walker, of course, and rest in peace, of course, to Coach John Thompson, who inspiration for me personally. Used to listen to his show every day at 3:00 on Team 980. It was ESPN 980 then, but Team 980 now. Huge inspiration. Could be the most important Black person in DC sports history. If it wasn't for him, I'd never get my favorite athlete of all time, Allen Iverson, and stuff like that. But love Coach John Thompson. But yeah, I've been working with them, and they've also been kind of going through the new media aspects during the pandemic, and it's different now. We can't go out and do events and be around the people because like radio is one thing because people come in and listen, but how we really reach out to people is being in the public and doing these events and being out in touch with people, just like we did with you guys' show. Like we do stuff like that all the time. So that's how you galvanize your audience and how you get the people into what you're talking about. So it's been a struggle kind of figuring out how to do that. Things are starting to open up now. A lot of outside things have been open, and thankfully we've had decent weather over the summer. So we've been able to do a lot of things outside to kind of, at least make up for all of the other time that we've missed and sports being in and out and things of that sort. But yeah, man, I'm basically waiting for the return to normalcy, and I'm treading water and learning new ways to swim in the meantime.
Absolutely.
So my question for you is, all right, so you got the Milwaukee Bucks, Chicago Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler is on fire.
You mean Miami
From
Heat?
Miami, right?
Yeah,
Miami Heat.
Yeah,
You
man.
said,
That's it, man.
Right.
you said Chicago.
Oh, we here.
Chicago.
Yeah, we with you. We with you. We with
We
you.
here though. We here though.
Jimmy Butler is cooking, smoking, hotter than fish grease. The defensive player of the year is on the other team. He decides not to guard him and says the coach didn't tell him to guard him. What do you think about that?
I think that's a bad look for Giannis, and I always hate situations like this because it was a setup question, and that's why he
Yeah.
got mad. And that's why he said, "Why would you even ask me that?" But like, come on, bro, you know why he asked you that? You defensive player of the year, bro. Like you gotta, be realistic. You are the defensive player of the year. You're supposed to go guard him. Like you had no problem guarding LeBron in the All-Star game. You got no problem calling people out and starting these random beats throughout the season. You don't want something with Jimmy Butler? Is like, what's the issue? You know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing is, even with Jimmy Butler, he's a great player. I ain't even gonna say he's a great player. I'll say Jimmy Butler's a very good player.
Okay.
Borderline great. Very
Jimmy
good
Butler's
player.
an overachiever.
Overachiever. But and that's not a bad thing.
That is a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing.
That is a bad thing. That's just as bad as saying somebody's serviceable.
No.
I mean, nah. But anyway,
I meant in the sense
TJ Warren is an overachiever.
Exactly. Jimmy Butler does not have the God-given talents that a lot of other guys have, the LeBrons, the Giannis's and stuff. But he remains competitive with them because he wills himself. He puts in the work. He's got that. Jimmy Butler has that dog in him. You know what I mean? He's got that dog to where you're like, you know what? I want that guy on my team because he's going to do whatever it takes to win.
Right.
It sounds like Giannis didn't want any parts of that dog. And what I'm gauging from Giannis, and I'll say it because, I picked Milwaukee to win the East. I'm not shying away from that. But what I am seeing is I'm seeing a guy that thinks that this championship is going to be handed to him. But guess what? There's some dogs in that path, and you got to go through those dogs. And unfortunately, it's better athletes still left in the bubble. So you got to man up and figure out how to get through this one because there's another one waiting and there's another one waiting, and it's not going to get any easier each year. So I was disappointed.
Well, I didn't pick Milwaukee there. I said from probably the beginning of the season that I didn't buy it. And when they were winning all those games, I still said I didn't buy it. And I had when they talked about bringing the teams back in the bubble, they weren't even in. I had Miami, Philly, Boston, and I think I might have said the Raptors later on, but those Miami, Philly, Boston were the three teams that I thought could get to the finals and play the Lakers. And it kind of once Ben Simmons got hurt, it was out that was out of the situation. I say either Miami or Boston, and I think Miami can get there. People look at me crazy when I say that, but
so hear me out on this. I'm not looking at you crazy anymore.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Man.
No, it's one of the things that I was just wrong about. I mean, hey, everybody's entitled to be wrong. Miami absolutely has a shot in the East. I think if they can get past the Bucks, the Celtics, because I think the Celtics are going to end up winning that series. I think they have a fight and they can beat the Celtics. So, I did look at you crazy when you said Miami coming out the Heat, but the way that everything is matching up, I mean, I never was sold on the 76ers. But like you said, with Ben Simmons going down, it's a different ball game. So
here's the issue with the Bucks, though. The Bucks have had the same issue for the last 3 years in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And this is why I'm not sold on and I love Giannis. I think he's probably the most dominant player to play since Shaq. Just being able to dominate the way that he does in a game. But the issue with Milwaukee, they are a very flawed team. I don't know how they be running up these 60-win seasons for the last 3 years. I look at this team and I'm like, look, bro, it's a bunch of decent players and Giannis. But the issue is there's not one player on that team that can get a bucket. They have no shot creators on the team.
Right.
And for a guy, like, I guess they want to do the drive and kick thing with Giannis, but like, you don't have a bunch of Kyle Korvers out there, Mo. Like, that's not going to work. Like, you got to have, especially in playoff time, that spin dunk stuff that Giannis be doing all day. That's not going to work for so long. And it's happened the last 3 years. And until, I ain't even going to say until, because it's over after this year. Giannis is gone whether they win or lose, in my opinion. But like, their issue is that they have nobody that can get a bucket.
Okay, so you brought up something interesting. You think Giannis will lead the Bucks?
I think he's gone regardless.
So this is where I was going with it. I'm glad that you brought that up. Certain players got to learn how to get that dog, or they need that dog with. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to pair himself with a dog, with an assassin, and that's the only way he's going to be successful. If he can't beat the he is going to have a tough time shouldering that franchise because it is going to require him to step up to the challenge, to get in guys' spaces, to be the leader that LeBron is. Didn't really see it so much with Durant, but Durant went and paired himself with a couple of guys. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what he does. But yeah, if he goes after this round, I agree he's got to go somewhere else.
I don't even think that like Giannis. I think Giannis has that dog in him. I just don't think he has the skill. Like he does not like he doesn't have any go-to moves. He can't create a shot by himself if he's not coming downhill, or if somebody's not throwing him a oop somewhere in a half-court situation. So until like even like they don't even have to have like a Kyrie or somebody crazy. If they had like a Lou Williams or like a Jamal Crawford 2 or 3 years ago, or a player like that can come in and give you a bucket in the fourth quarter when it's time, Milwaukee would be right there because they just have no inside-outside game. And I don't know what they're expecting from Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton's nice, but, levels.
I know what just happened.
So one thing I will say, I know you wanted to ask him a question. Maybe Okay. Maybe I'm phrasing it wrong too. I do agree that you need that dog. But I think something happens to players when they're critiqued. And Ant always brings this up about LeBron, right? LeBron always feels that pressure. Like no matter what happens, LeBron's going to get the blame. If he succeeds, people are going to hate on him. It doesn't matter what it is. He's got that pressure. The guys like Giannis, AD, James Harden, some of those guys have not wore the same pressure that LeBron, Steph, and some of those other guys have. We're going to find out if he's going to fold under pressure or he's going to adapt to it. And if he loses, he's going to start feeling that pressure.
And you know what? What this Bucks team reminds me of? All those Hawks teams. It reminds me of the Atlanta Hawks from the
They got the coach, Mike Budenholzer.
Yeah, they got the same coach. They win all these games in the regular season and shrink in the playoffs. And if they lose this series, because I feel like they're going to go down to 0-2, and that's fine. But if they lose this series, like you said, Scott, Giannis is going to have some pressure like no other. And because the regular season MVPs are going to be nice, and everybody's going to be like, oh, that's cool. But even LeBron took a subpar team to the finals. They got swept, but he took a subpar team to the finals, and they were around the same age. So they were predicted to come out the East, and I'm sorry, I don't see it. They remind me of the Atlanta Hawks or even the Raptors from a couple years ago.
And I'll say this, I'll add this to your point. I feel like the East is a lot weaker than it was when, at this moment, right now, it's weaker than when LeBron had to go through the East. We're talking about that Heat team. I know your brother's on it, and I'm not going to be too disrespectful, but if you really look at where that Heat team will rank against past teams in the playoffs in the East, they're a fifth or sixth team. You know what I mean? That's not a team that you look at that you say, oh, yeah, they're going to win.
They're 5 seed right now.
There you go.
Like,
So we're talking that they have a chance. So that lets you know when LeBron, it's just.
So I'll say this. The reason why the Heat look the way they look, because this team is fairly the same, is because of Jimmy Butler. And Scott, you were talking about somebody that has a dog in him, and you said Jimmy Butler. Giannis is going to go to Miami. If Giannis leaves Milwaukee, he's going to go to Miami.
That's what they're talking about.
And I tell you, it's going to be one or two people. It's either going to be Giannis or it's going to be Oladipo. One of those two are going to Miami and pair with Bam, Jimmy Butler. They probably going to get Dragic out of there. Haslam is going to retire. Robinson may be the piece. Huh?
Haslam still playing? I thought I saw him on the bench.
Yeah, he's always on the bench. Haslam's still on the roster. He just doesn't play that much. Haslam is like how Juwan Howard was towards the end of his career. He's on the roster, but he's like that coach. He's like that big brother. He's that veteran in the locker room that they need to have. Haslam 17 years, man.
I was thinking like 25.
I can't hear either one of y'all. I don't know what just happened.
You may have to go out and come back in, Trey.
I hear you.
This man Trey then came in and but yeah, so Haslam he's like that veteran that they need because they're a young team. They're a young team.
I agree with both of y'all.
I can't hear y'all. I don't know. I missed it.
Maybe we gotta type it in the chat.
I told him. But
yeah, I agree. I think that's a good fit for him to go to Miami. I think if he goes to Miami, then and you pair him with that team, that's a championship team, and I would be very frightened if I was other teams looking at that team. They would be a team to reckon with in the East for a really long time.
Yeah. My bad. So and the guy that can make it happen is Pat Riley.
Oh yeah.
He can make it happen. And I think everybody believes in Pat Riley. So we'll see. But again, Giannis,
I think the point that you brought up. I'm sorry. Pat Riley could teach him to get that dog in him. Pat Riley could teach him how to win like he did LeBron.
Yep. And so I think Pat Riley is well respected throughout the league. And he's the one. He's the one that can pull, because everybody says, what is it that Pat Riley? What does Pat Riley do to get all these guys to play so hard? And it's just him being well respected and people know. Don't what I mean? All right, we got Trey back too.
No, people like you said, man. I mean, he's won as a player. He's won as a coach. He's won as an executive. He's been around the best. He's been around everybody imaginable. He knows what it takes, and you have to listen to him when you come down there. Now, is he a little old school? Is he a little strict? Yeah, but it seems to work in any era. I mean, Miami, truth be told, Miami has been through more rebuilds than any other team that I can think of. I mean, they'll have a good team. They'll tear it down. They'll win a championship. They'll go through another rebuild, win like another championship. You know, they lost Wade, LeBron, and all those guys, and then they're right back in the thick of things. I mean, to be able to do that and assemble a roster like that, and they didn't do it with a whole bunch of free agents. A lot of those guys came through the draft, just being consistent with the coaching and stuff. That type of stuff's not luck. That's you knowing what you're doing. And I think people have confidence in that.
All right. So, and before we get to the winner of the week, right? There's one thing that in Miami that they do that is second to none, and this goes they compare this to like football. They have their is the before the seasons before camp you have to pass your I don't want to say physical. I'm drawing a blank right now.
But they give them that fitness test,
the fitness test, right? And so what it is you have to run the length of the floor, run the length of the court, I think 4 times in a minute or something to that effect. And you do it about, I think it's 9-10 times, and they all have to be under a minute. And I think it might be more than 10, but you do it over and over and over. And Jimmy Butler, who is like a superstar, and most teams probably would put this out in the media and stuff like that. Jimmy Butler failed it the first day. He failed it the first time, right before camp started. He failed it, and
About That Life failed the physical test.
So this is the crazy thing. So he was expecting it. He was expecting to see, on the scroller or the ticker that he failed his physical. He was like, that's gonna get out. So he was back I think they say he woke up about 3-4 o'clock in the morning to prepare to do it again. He went back to the gym to prepare to do it again, and he noticed that it never was on. And that's when he started the workouts at that time, training and everything at that time. So they noticed that he noticed that it wasn't on the ticker, and it wasn't on ESPN and all these things, and they never the Heat never released that information. And then so he did it again. He passed it, but that's where he found the respect. He got the respect of the organization. He started respecting the organization, and he was like, "This is like the perfect fit for me and everything." And now everybody 4 a.m. he's in the gym and everybody's with him, and he's the one that started doing that. So I mean, that kind of I think there's a lot of Pat Riley in Jimmy Butler,
And to further your point, you see the young guys gravitating to it.
Mm-hmm. They love him. They love him.
Yeah, this is the first.
Embiid still loves him. The only ones that don't like him is Cat and Andrew Wiggins. That's about it.
Yeah.
That was on that Chicago team that him, D Wade, and Rondo was pissing off that one year. But
yeah.
Other than that.
Yeah. I don't know about Ben Simmons, but who knows? But I know Embiid loves him. Embiid was like, man. Yeah. So all right, let's get to the winner of the week.
No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner.
All right, so I ain't gonna get as long-winded as I normally get. This person, hands down, I got to give it to Kirk Cousins for that irresponsible, stupid crap that he said today about not wanting to die, but not caring if he was going to die, and the only reason he wears a mask is to respect people. If he gets COVID, he doesn't understand. I just thought, number one, is probably the most irresponsible thing I've heard an athlete say all year. Number two, you're a winner because you hold a higher position in sports as a quarterback. And there's people out there, man, that hear that type of dumb stuff and decide to do it. You know what I mean? So you're putting just irresponsible comments out there. And there's people out there that will eat it up and say, you know what, Kirk Cousins ain't doing it. I don't need to do it. And it kind of goes into that line of thinking that I don't agree that athletes should just shut up and dribble. But what I do agree is that leave this stuff to the experts. You know what I mean? You know how to read a defense. They know how to read diseases and what's best for us. And that's it. I mean, you can have an opinion on different issues, but when it comes to health stuff and stuff like that, let these people do their job. Nobody needs to hear anything just dumb. What y'all think about that?
Want to go?
Yeah. Man. So when I saw this morning, it came up on a little thing, and I said, that is just a headline. They're trying to get clicks, and they just want me to, I just saw it. I didn't click on anything. Then after I read it and I listened to the interview that he did it a couple months ago. But I feel like a couple months ago, it was worse than it is now. I think places were just starting to open back up. So maybe that's why he felt like he could say those things. And I said, this has to be the most inconsiderate, irresponsible thing I could ever read, because we saw so many people dying. We had Scotty and I had somebody that we knew from school that passed away. My sister had it. Just different. It's like this disease ain't nothing to play with, and we're not just on. We're just not on. Doing the show virtually for no reason. Mm-hmm. They're not canceling seasons and things like that for no reason. There's clearly a reason. This disease clearly is what it is, and for him to say something like that, it was real inconsiderate. Like Scott said, you got people that follow him, people that just follow anything that quarterbacks say, and him to say if he dies, he dies. He has a family, so it's just. And then he tried. So today he tried to like further explain what he was saying, and after hearing that, I wanted to slap him even more because it still didn't make any sense, and he still sounded like a fool. So it's just crazy, man. I don't know.
See, with Kirk Cousins, this is another situation where when keeping it real goes wrong. I need Dave Chappelle back for this one. Because look, man, like you gotta understand, like when some of these guys talk, they're speaking from their own truth. They're not speaking on from how, and like you said, like he is Kirk Cousins. He's a starting quarterback for for the Vikings and everything. He's an NFL quarterback. He should be very cautious with his words. But like we want these people to be open and honest, and like you say, it's not you want to draw the line. It's a thin line between shut up and dribble, and you want to really talk to these people and get inside their head and how they really feel. And if you know anything about Kirk Cousins, you know that he's really religious based. He's big on God. Learned that about him playing with the Redskins here for a lot of years, watching him and a lot of his shenanigans. Trump supporter, possibly. I'm not sure about that. He might be. Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is just one of them type things where when you speak your own truth, it hurts other people because other people can be influenced by what you think is true. And like you say, we're in an idol worshiping era now. So, you got to be careful with the things that you say. But at the same time, man, look, Kirk, bro, if he, that's how a lot of people feel. I really feel like that's how most people in America feel about COVID-19. It's like, he was like, hey, I wear a mask, so I don't hurt nobody else. But if I die, I die. And, like that's how people have felt. People didn't want to social distance. People didn't want quarantine. People ain't want to chill in the house. People want to go out. People want to go back to work. People want to do this. And we're at the point where a lot of people feel like, if I die, I die. So, I'm not going to crush Kirk Cousins 100,000% for that. But, it's always interesting about when you want to hear from athletes. He's like, we need the athletes to speak up. We need the athletes to talk. But then they say some stupid shit, and then now we're all,
No, you're right. You're right.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna crush him even more though. And I guess the bigger point too. I didn't say anything about him being a Trump supporter, but yeah, him and Trump, they played golf together. When he was going through his slump, he called him to congratulate him for having like a good game or whatnot. So my fear is when I heard him say that, it's kind of riling up is to regurgitate what the president is saying, so it touches a more broader audience than just the normal stuff. I wouldn't be.
You think Kirk Cousins has that type of outreach to Donald Trump's audience? Like, I feel like at this point, if you either rocking with Trump or you're not, regardless of what Kirk Cousins got to say.
I wouldn't be.
Tom Brady was Donald Trump's man, and apparently they don't even talk no more.
Yeah,
well, that's probably why. That's probably because Tom Brady has said that he's going to start listening to black people, and Trump not trying to listen to black people.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump retweets Kirk Cousins' interview.
Oh no, yeah, that's a Trump move.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to, because I don't want this to become like a political show. And
it's 2020, bro. We can't help it.
Everything's political, right? I know. I know.
Wearing a mask inside of a store is political.
It has become political. And you know what's funny about the mask thing, right? The same people, and I find it ironic, the same people that that don't like to wear masks and feel like that they're being forced to wear masks are the same people that that want to tell women what to do with their bodies and like with abortions and things like that. So I just find that really hypocritical. Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to make this like a political show, but again, it's just ironic, you know. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not going to put that type of stigma on Kirk Cousins because I don't know him and I haven't heard him say anything about abortions. But that statement normally comes from people that would say, you know, women shouldn't have the right to have abortions. That's not their that shouldn't be their right. You know,
it's beyond ignorant. Because what I see is, and just hear me out on this, who are we to challenge a medical expert that's dedicated their life to studying diseases, studying that stuff? Who are you to question anything they have to say about this? Have you conducted any studies? Have you performed any experiments? Probably not. You know what I mean? You can have your opinion a little bit, but when you start questioning the medical experts that are the experts, probably should listen to them.
That's the thing, though. I don't think he's questioning it. Like I said, like we're at a different point now. People that just like he just said, like, look, if I die, I die. And he's at that point with it. He said, I'm not even questioning saying that they're wrong. He said, yeah, maybe I should wear the mask, but you know, if I die, you know, it was lit. I got my bag. It was cool. You know, like,
so look, I think that might have been what he was trying to say. He just said it. It was probably the worst delivered message of the year by an athlete. You know what I mean? Like, if he said it like that, it probably wouldn't even been a headline. You know what I mean? If we would have just been like, you know what, life's good. Hey man, I'm ready. I'm good if I go.
But to go back to your point, this kind of goes back to what Trump said a few months ago. He was like, look, man, people are going to die. We're doing what we can. Like, you know, and that's one of the moments where keeping it real goes wrong. It's like, nah, bro.
This could have easily been, I don't want to say easily been prevented. No, it really could have easily been prevented because they gave him the experts told him about this virus and things like that. And he just, you know, because he even said this is not a real thing, it's going to disappear in no time. And you know how Trump double talks. So, man. But anyway, Trey, man, let everybody know how they can reach you, man.
Man, make sure you follow me, Instagram @TalkToTrey. Go ahead and follow me right there. That's where I do all my shenanigans and my sports talk and my story. Come get involved with me, man.
All right. And we got somebody that typed in home, you know, she had no idea what we talking about. But she follows Scott Q. Smith on that's a whole nother story. Hey, but follow Scott on Instagram because we trying. Hey Trey, so we got a movement going on. Not only are we trying to get people to vote, we're getting people to follow Scott on Instagram. We got him. You know, we're trying to get Scott's followers up on Instagram.
Okay, so this is a whole campaign going on.
Yeah, man, yeah, and I'm starting to feel like eventually he's gonna have more followers than me. And so but nah. got somebody else up here. So this guy coaches with me, Coach Martin, right? He said, "Is this a Ravens hat?" So listen, I have a ton of hats, right? I have a ton of hats. The reason why I have on a Ravens hat is because I have on a Black Panther shirt and it matches, right?
Okay.
So,
all right.
So that's why I have on the Ravens. But I had on a Wizards hat before and a Texas Rangers hat.
He said, "I'm a man of many hats."
Yes, but I won't say there's certain hats I won't wear.
Okay.
I won't own. I won't wear.
So Trey, I got one thing for you. Who do you have between the Clippers and the Rockets?
The Clippers and the Rockets.
Well, the Rockets got to win first.
What do you mean? I'm just saying.
OKC. OKC. I am all off. Who you got?
No. It's not. No, it's Denver and the Rockets. I mean, Denver and the Clippers.
No, I meant
no. You talking about OKC
9 o'clock? At 9 o'clock.
OKC and the Rockets.
I always mix up Chris Paul with the Clippers.
No, this is painful for me. I don't know.
Man,
painful because Westbrook
don't do
is my
Trey. Don't do it.
Watch. But
don't do it, Trey.
But Chris Paul is also my favorite player of all time. Second favorite player of all time.
Oh, wow.
Oh boy.
And I'm loving the resurgence of Chris Paul.
Oh, don't do it, Trey. Don't do it.
Rockets, because I can't have my man Westbrook go out like that. He can't go out like that.
All right.
He can't go out like that. He's got to at least get to the next round. He can't go out like this.
You better hope Cliff Paul show up.
If he's not, he better hope Cliff Paul show up. Chris has been doing some work, and it's bad because I feel bad for CP3. I think he's the unluckiest player in NBA history.
I agree.
And he deserves some type of, roses while he's still hooping. And they've been trying to retire my man ever since Steph Curry made him fall. And he's like, nah, I'm still here. I'm still CP3. I still get buckets is what I do. So I'm not mad either way, but I'm going to be a little hurt for my guy Westbrook because I might have to burn my Westbrook jerseys.
Nah, you ain't
I'm not even a Rockets fan. I might have to be done with Westbrook. It's going to be hard because the other night, that was bad. That was really bad the other night. I've made a lot of excuses for Westbrook in the past, and a lot of them have been valid. But that was really bad the other night.
Now they're gonna win by 25-30, man.
Hey, they gotta put.
They're gonna win by what?
The Rockets are
gonna win by 25-30.
I have a feeling. That's just a feeling. That is that a hot take? Is that would you consider that a hot take?
How many cases of do you want to put on that?
That's the only way they.
All right, wait, hold on. So Trey,
put 10 cases of do on
10 cases.
10 cases of do.
Are these fictional cases? Because I mean, look, I'm down for the bet. I wish, honestly, I may try and make my way to Capital One Arena to place this bet because I don't know what.
30.
Maybe 25.
Nah, they're gonna go. They're gonna try to blow those boys out. That's the only way they win.
I'm telling you, you saw what happened. You saw what happened a few nights ago, man. They was on, and I commend OKC for coming back after that butt whooping that they took. I think it was Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Houston was playing on another level, and I have a feeling that they're gonna have their logo on the court, and they're gonna start hitting all these threes, and it's gonna be like, I don't know, man.
You talking about dogs? Chris Paul called out James Harden.
He did.
Called him out when he
did.
Stared down at the free throw line. I love Chris Paul because he's so extra, but James, there's no excuse for the strip clubs in the bubble. You can't say that he was too busy at the strip club. You can't say he's too busy, doing whatever. This is gonna be very bad, and I'm just rooting for Westbrook, man. I can't have my guy go out like that. Mm-hmm.
So you got the Rockets. All right.
Unfortunately,
tomorrow morning, it's gonna be hell if they lose that game.
Oh yeah,
it is.
Oh yeah. Westbrook might retire.
It ain't gonna be on Westbrook.
I think it's gonna be on all of them. I think it is gonna be on Harden and D'Antoni more than Westbrook.
I think it's gonna be on Westbrook because Last game was really bad, bro.
It was 7 turnovers.
And like, not only that, like that's been his reputation as being the OC dude in the last couple minutes. That's been your reputation in the last 4 years. Damian Lillard sunned you last year in the playoffs. Year before that, Donovan Mitchell sunned you. Like, bruh.
Man.
I'm running out.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, and honestly, you know, I think they lost both of those in 6. No, they lost
that Utah series in 5.
5. They lost in 5, and they lost. No, matter of fact, I think they might have lost in 5 last year.
They lost in 5 last year too.
Yeah, I forgot about that Donovan Mitchell. That was terrible. Because
Donovan Mitchell, he's going at him. He got Ricky Rubio giving him buckets. Oh my God.
It was bad. It was bad.
Rubio diced him up that first game.
Before we get out of here, man, I want to say, Trey, thank you again for showing up and
of course, man,
and blessing the show, man. We appreciate it. You know, you always walk. You got an open door for some people. You know, you got the open door. Whenever you ain't even got to knock, man. Just it's whenever you want to come through. When we get back to the studio, we got to revisit some of this stuff. But yeah, thanks again, man.
I'm down with it, man. Appreciate you guys having me again, man.
Definitely.
Got to go watch your boy right now. See if they can close out the Bucks.
Yeah, they up 6 at the half. Mm-hmm. So
I got a question. When we coming on your show?
Hey, it's funny you say that. Sooner than later, I'll say that. I ain't gonna set myself up like Ann almost did earlier. I ain't gonna drop no dates, but
yeah, man.
Y'all been there though,
definitely. Yeah, man. Get that. Oh, so follow the show. Off the record, the OTR brand on YouTube, not YouTube, Twitter. The OTR brand on YouTube. So it's like youtube.com/c/off the record show. Instagram is the Off the Record Show. Facebook is Off the Record. Me personally is Vipers31 on Twitter and Instagram. I think Scott Q Smith on Instagram. He still doesn't have Twitter. We're working on that. We're working on that. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. I think we can get up out of here. Another week in pandemic life. And we just all trying to figure it out, man. So everybody stay safe.
I got one last shout out.
What's up?
Chink. And if you listen, Chink represents the battleground for any job.
So we and I guess because we got to explain that we can't just so we do our own like our music battles each week on Sundays, and one of our guys that's in the group with us was called out. So next week, Marcus is going to be going against another Virginia State Trojan, Jermaine Lafayette. So they're going to come on, towards the end of the show, and they're going to have their little pregame, the pre-fight, press conference.
There you go.
Or whatever, and they're going to talk their trash, and we're going to actually stream it. We're going to stream the battle next Wednesday at like 8:30. So it's going to be fun because yesterday, the trash talk that was going on Facebook was epic. And so I felt like it was only right that we have them on the show and then, we have the battle live on Facebook and YouTube.
Absolutely.
I want to throw it out there early. I got my money behind the battleground.
Yeah, so
you already scratching the battleground.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man. So be on the lookout for that, and that's gonna be real fun next week. We gotta find ways to entertain ourselves, and I feel like there's more content. So I'm just gonna put out some more content.
Content is king.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's gotta be.
And Trey.
And Trey. Thanks for having me.
Anthony Adebayo.
with you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo.